So that'll be interesting. A couple of the other announcements they made, that one that I was very interested in was they announced a new set. I'm trying to remember what they're calling them, a Nemotron, a family of LLMs based on Meta's Llama, which also interesting. But here's what I found most interesting about this particular announcement is that it's explicitly, these models are basically designed for agentic AI use cases,
Mhm.
which is, obviously all agentic AI use cases use LLMs at their core for the generative elements of it. But we haven't really heard anyone talking too much about specifically tuning LLMs for that use case per se. And so I thought that was an interesting development, and again another interesting sort of push by NVIDIA. And the last one I'll just throw out. It's really sort of tangential, but they also announced some specific efforts around robotics, physical robotics, and supporting that, where going that. So again, these are just two areas that were like, sort of out of the mainstream, both very related, both make sense, but clearly trying to expand their footprint.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if NVIDIA can successfully break out models and perhaps chip types for specific types of use cases over time, whether this kind of instruction-based model optimization actually takes off, or whether vendors will actually work on their own agentic models, which I would think they would rather do. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, does Salesforce or ServiceNow or IBM really want to depend on NVIDIA's version of agentic modeling, or will they want to use their own? I think that might be a little bit of a dead end for NVIDIA at the end of the day, but obviously NVIDIA understands that they want to be the Kleenex or the Xerox of AI, so ubiquitous that all you want to call it, NVIDIAing it, or we'll find a better verb for it. But basically, having their brand being ubiquitous and synonymous with AI, they know that's the race at this point for them.
Well, I do wonder. I mean, one of the things that struck me with these both of these announcements, and sort of in combination, is the foundation of their business has been supplying these chips to companies like OpenAI and Microsoft and others who are building the foundational models. If you sort of looked at that stack, and then they've increasingly been building the software layer, and now they have the agentic LLM layer. And so and then you look at the competition coming, specifically in my mind, coming from like Amazon, right, where they have AWS Bedrock. They've been building their own chips. Clearly the sort of competitive stack. And it does sort of make me wonder if NVIDIA eventually goes there, right? Because I agree with you. I think if you're selling to the model players and to the major software companies who all have an incentive to build their own LLMs and to control that, I think that's a tough sell. To your point, where I think there is a very open, some open runway here is targeting the enterprise, right? So one of the things I've been talking about a lot is that the enterprise is going to be investing across the entire buy versus build spectrum. They're going to be buying some off the shelf AI technologies where it makes sense, and from my view, it's mostly when you're looking at productivity and those sort of non-differentiated business values. And then the other end of the spectrum, when you're delivering an AI solution specifically in a way that delivers competitive differentiation in the market, you're going to want to build that. You're going to want to control it and make it specific to your organization. And but they're not going to have the resources to do all of this themselves. And so that's where AWS is a great fit, right? I can effectively rent the chips, build it on their platform, and just get something on the other end that I can put into production. I could see NVIDIA going and eventually trying to compete on that, where they can do a full stack to an enterprise or a small ISV, a small software company that
Mhm.
doesn't have the resources of the ServiceNow or Salesforce. So it'll be interesting to see if that's where this is going.
Yeah, NVIDIA has definitely put a lot of focus on software compared to their competitors like AMD. And I think that's really shown in the ease of use that people tend to consider NVIDIA with from an AI perspective, which is really part of their competitive advantage as well. Of course, they've got the performance advantage, but they've also got this usability advantage at this point. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out, and whether so you mentioned a little bit about how ISV potential. I think about how some of the server companies like HPE made run on FinOps solutions back in the day. Like HPE bought this small company called Cloud Cruiser and turned it into their HPE consumption analytics solution. And I could see NVIDIA also doing something like that with some of the agent orchestration and agent management companies that are coming into place as NVIDIA tries to have this full third-party ecosystem from soup to nuts, everything having to do with AI.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see where that all lands and how it develops. And as we talked about before, this entire sector is a battle for the agents, or for the giants, I should say, at this level anyway, right? When you're deep at
Yeah.
that foundational infrastructure level.